Alright, Teague here. Bedouin Sound Clash. When the Night Feels My Song. We're going to start with an A bar chord. So we're barring our first finger across the 5th fret, and then we are putting our second finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, third finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and then your pinky right underneath it on the 7th fret of the 4th string to give us an A bar chord. This chord, if I back it up, A, I'm going to back it up the 3rd position, which is G, the 1st position is F, back it up one more, the 1st finger loses a job. It's actually just your open E chord, which we usually quite often play with 1, 2, 3, but it's the same chord. Anyway, so just so you know where that chord comes from. The song doesn't use very many chords. It's going to use this A chord. It's going to use an E chord. Now this E is basically the first finger is playing the 7th fret of your 5th string, and then the 3rd finger I am barring across the 9th fret, of strings 4, 3, and 2. You could use 3 fingers. Some people like to put 3 fingers and play it like that. That's totally fine too if you can fit them all on there. As you can see, it's a little bit cramped because they all have to fit in that exact same fret. It's a little tricky. Or you can just put the 3rd. We're not really hearing the 1st string. It gets kind of blocked. And then from the E, we'll bring it back a whole step to 5th position, which will give us the D. Just bring the nut into the picture there so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we'll also use B minor, which is the same shape as this. So if this is D, if I back it up a whole step, it's C. Another half step is B, but we need B minor, so we're going to take this 4th fret of the 2nd string, which is a D sharp, and we're going to lower it a half step to give us that minor 3rd that makes a major chord a minor chord, to a D, and it gives us this shape. So you'll notice it actually looked like your A chord that we talked about in the start of the video, but in 2nd position on strings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is barring 1 to 5. We do not need the 6th string. I actually have my first finger sort of touching it, so if I hit the 6th string, I don't really hear much. And then I have my 3rd finger on the 4th fret of my 4th string, pinky right underneath it, 4th fret of your 3rd string. Middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string to give us a B minor. We'll use B minor. We'll also use C sharp minor, which is a whole step higher in 4th position. And that's pretty much it. Except there's a couple places I do a couple slightly different chords, but I'll show you in a minute. So here's what we're going to start with. The beginning of the tune is just 16th notes in the right hand. So if I play quarter notes all down, this is going to be my quarter note. We count 1, 2, 3. I'm now going to do 8th notes, which I could do down up, 1 and 2 and 3 if I wanted, or I could go all down, 2, which is what we're going to do right now, giving us a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Because now if I bring the pick up in between, I have 16th notes. So we're going to play these 16th notes on a clicky. I'm going to put a slight accent on the 3rd one, on the and of the beat. So 1 E and a. So when I go 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2. So it's got just a little extra a little accent to give it a slightly more rhythmic feel other than just straight 16th notes like that. So I have a 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And then in the beginning of the tune we hear the bass come in with this A. So it's still just blocking the strings, and I'm blocking the strings, sorry I left that out, by leaving my hand on this A chord which starts the song. But I'm not pressing. I don't know if you can tell that. It's hard to see, right? But okay, there it's pressing, now it's not. So they're sitting on the strings, but they're not pressing down. They're just sitting in place. And it gives me this click. A good exercise if you've never done any of this, play the chord, release it, play a click. Chord, click. Chord, click. So on your work exercise, that's a good exercise. Anyway, so coming back here now, so we have our clicks. This A is going to go on beat 1 and 2. So I'm going to go 1, I'm going to leave out the up, and I'm going to go down, up, and then back down on beat 2. 1 and a 2. And then I'll continue my 16th. So I have this. Now in that case, I'm only pressing my first finger down, so I just hear that A. That's the very beginning of the tune. As soon as the singing comes in, basically what's happening in this whole tune, the chords are all on the offbeat, on the and of the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I'm doing is to keep that 16th note feel, I'm putting 2 16ths before the chord and then the chord. So I'm going to go 1 E and, 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Another day is gone. Say goodbye to the. And that's basically what I'm doing. Sometimes I just do 1, so sometimes it's click, chord, sometimes it's 2. got a neat sound to go back and forth. I didn't really pay any attention to when I did 2 versus 1. I just randomly did 2, sometimes I did 1. So the tune basically in the verses, it's going to go from 2 measures of A to 2 measures of the E we talked about. Same kind of rhythm idea. 1 measure of B minor, so only 4. So when we talk about 2 measures, you end up hitting that A chord 8 times. You end up hitting the E chord 8 times, but the B minor only 4 times. And then we go back to the D for 2 beats, so only twice, and E only twice. So the whole verse, A, 1, 2, here comes E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Here comes B minor, only for 1 measure though. Ready? Now D for half a measure, E, back to A. And that's our verse. Hopefully that makes sense. It kind of fast there, so hit rewind, play it again. Go nice and slow. Try to get them nice and accurate. Try to count. And then getting into the chorus, we're going to do, after you sing the verse a couple times, does the A again, but instead of 2 measures, it does it for 1.5 measures. So 6 of these. And it's going to go to C sharp minor for those last 2 beats. And now this is where it changes a little tiny bit. And what I wanted to do here is I wanted to play what the bass is playing, but still play the guitar. So the bass plays an F sharp, but it's a D chord. But because he plays this F sharp, basically what I do is I put the F sharp with my 3rd finger, so that's the 9th fret of your 5th string, an F sharp. It's a note in the D chord. It happens to be the 3rd degree of a D chord. And here's my D chord barring the 7th fret. So I'm going to do that. I'm just playing the middle 4 strings. I'm not playing the outside strings. I'm going to go bass note, chord, bass note, chord. 1 and 2 and. And then I'm just going to play 2 clicks, chord, 2 clicks, chord again to finish that measure. So I have. Then for C sharp minor, remember we played it like this? Same thing, except I need this E in the bass. So in order to do that, I'm going to play the C sharp minor chord, actually like the shape that looks like your A minor, if you know your A minor chord. Right? So you've got your 1st finger on the 1st fret there, 2nd finger on the 2nd of the 4th string, 3rd on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. If I move that up, A minor, whole step to B minor, half step to C, half step to C sharp. There's my C sharp minor chord. I'm going to put this E on the bottom. You can also call this chord E6. Some of you may recognize it as E6 because there's your C A minor chord. If you throw that C in there, it's basically a C6 chord. But we won't get into that too much just yet. But anyway, so it's going to give us a C sharp minor. We're going to do the same thing we did before. Bass note, chord, bass note, chord. Back it up to B minor. So back the whole shape up to 3rd position. Same idea, bass note. So remember those bass notes are on the 5th string. Back to our A chord. And then a B minor chord, a B bass note, and a B minor chord again. So that last little part, the A, is going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there's a little pause there. I probably put 2 clicks in on when I recorded it though. Maybe not. Nah. Wait, say, how does that go? To figure out where I am. Hey, hey, beautiful day. Hey, beautiful day. Yeah. I think I did, yeah. And then we're going to move up to C sharp minor. Same thing. 2 clickies, chord, bass note, chord, clicky, chord, and then we repeat. And then the other part of the tune is after the chorus, we're going to go from an A chord, but this time I'm going bass note, chord, but I'm keeping them short, so I'm releasing the pressure of my hands. Then E, I'm using the low E string as my bass note now. So I'm blocking that bass note with this middle finger of my left hand. D, A. Anyway, watch the cover. I think I covered everything. I'm going to try to get at some more videos. Have fun. As always, thanks for subscribing. Later.